civilization that we live in, and how close are we to collapse? And what are the things that lead to collapse? You know, it's environmental stuff. It's human sacrifice.
Yeah.
I mean, we do that.
Kinda.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
We just dress it up.
Yep.
When you find out medications are killing people and they keep prescribing them and they do it for money, that's kind of sacrifice. When you find out that wars are irresponsible.
They're not just wars.
Not just.
No.
They're for money.
We send our young people over there to die.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for not. I mean, I love this. I love the warrior. I do. I love the warrior, but I hate the war.
Especially when you get into the Amazon.
Sure. Oh, I don't know about the Amazon.
Oh my God.
Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, the Amazon used to be filled with people.
Yep.
And most of the Amazon is man-made. The jungle in the Amazon is agriculture.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The jungle in the Amazon, they didn't even know this until fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
And they now know from flying over, they use LiDAR, which is this light emitting radar.
Yeah.
So when they use this laser radar shit, when they fly over it, they're finding all these grids and pathways and cities in the jungle. So the jungle had consumed all these cities. I think there was millions and millions of people living in the Amazon.
Yeah.
There's resistance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
Yeah.
Christianity is the one religion where people, all these progressive, open-minded, leftist people, they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes to Christianity. And for whatever reason, that represents like white male, you know, whatever it represents, colonialism, you know, whatever it represents, it's negative.
Yeah, sure, it's gotten a bad rap. And people do feel free to beat up on it. Mm-hmm. Even I do when I see it's like, you know, when it's not fair, when I think it's off.
Right.
Like, you know, when they appoint some cardinal in some diocese and he's been covering up for like people who are child molesters.
Yes.
You know, like Theodore McCarrick or Cardinal Wuerl or those kind of guys. I mean.
Or the Pope.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Benedict.
Oh, not Benny. Well, he was covering up, but like, so is the guy now.
You know,
well, you know, the institution, it was instituted by Christ, you know, but that doesn't mean that it can't be flawed. And there's a school of thought that says it isn't what it purports to be anymore. It's moved away from what it was intended to be and what it is. Almost, there's a guy called Bishop Vigano who says it's a counterfeit parallel church. The man who came out was a man called Angelo Roncalli, and he was John the 23rd. Now, it's interesting to note that never had a pope taken the name of another pope ever before in history. But this man took the name of a known anti-pope from the 15th century that Cosimo de' Medici put in there as his own man. I'll get you in the chair, and then everything will be rosy. You know, everything will go good for business. You know, whatever he was putting him in there for some corrupt reason. But and there have been corrupt men in that place before. I mean, there's Alexander VI and Julius II and Sixtus IV. I mean, some of these guys are, you know, they're not saints. So he took the name of a known anti-pope from the 5th century who actually said, yes, I'm an anti-pope. Sorry, I'm not the right guy, because there was more than one, and he confessed to being, and he wanted to, you know, square things with the Almighty, I guess. So he confessed to being an anti-pope. And so he took the same name as that guy, John the 23rd. So it's interesting, don't you think? I mean, why would he do that? It's a very small country. It's a country.
Yeah, it's a country inside of a small city.
Yeah.
Because Rome's not the biggest city.
No.
And then it's got a country inside the city.
Yeah.
With walls around it.
Sure.
And you can't extradite people.
Yeah, pretty weird.
How convenient.
Yeah. Even Ratzinger, he didn't drive from the Vatican to the other place. He flew.
Ooh.
And it was only a little while, because who knows why. I don't know.
Well, he was wanted.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that he had done was he had moved a priest that had molested 100 kids, and he moved him to some new place where he molested deaf kids.
Yeah. And I think it's all part and parcel of the same corruption that crept in. And when you asked what's the difference between pre-Vatican II, so Vatican II happened, and of course they took the church and they reformed it, and they changed things in it, and it didn't necessarily agree with everything that went before it. And up to that point, yeah, you could find it agreed with itself, but all of a sudden, you got something else, to the point where now, I mean, we got a pope that brought a South American idol into the church to worship.
Really?
He did. It's the Pachamama. For example, they say that that Golgotha, the place where the crucifixion happened, it's called Golgotha, the place of the skull, because that's where Adam's head is buried.
Really?
Yes, and that it's also perhaps the same place. And it tells you it's kind of in the same area where Abraham almost sacrifices Isaac. That the first canonized saint, do you know who it was?
No.
The first ever confirmed canonization as a saint was Dismas. You know who Dismas was?
No.
He was the thief on the cross next to Jesus.
Oh.
And he says to him, "You're going to be okay. This day, you'll be with me." So,
Wow.
the lawmaker is above the law. So there's a lot of mercy.
What about people that never experienced Christianity? What about the
That's what I'm saying.
uncontacted
Yeah,
people?
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Some
Yeah.
guy in the jungle.
Yeah.
It's been known that it's called invincible ignorance because they don't know what the truth is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's possible that they can be saved as well. You know.
So what? Like bed, I have a hyperbaric chamber.
Wow.
I have everything.
Okay. Hyperbaric chambers are the best.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Good
Incredible.
brain work. I got to get back in there.
Oh.
I feel like I got more holes in my head.
It's phenomenal for just overall recovery for everything. And it's also been shown to lengthen telomeres. They did a study out of Israel. Yeah, they gave people a protocol over 90 days. You do 60 sessions of 90 minutes over 90 days.
Yeah.
And it's shown to lengthen telomeres and decrease your biological age.
Okay.
And you just feel fucking great.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, you're flooding your body with oxygen. And most diseases, a lot of them, come from a lack of oxygen. You know, your body not having enough oxygen is very bad for you.
To have a Qigong master, this is what kind of blows my mind about medicine and about ancient stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is from Shanghai. He didn't speak much English, right? A little bit. His wife would translate for him. And he'd come in and he could like point at you, right, from this far away, and you'd feel it. But like feel it like as palpable as someone pushing you around. It's like, ugh.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
What year was this when this is happening?
Oh shit! I met him when I was like 40.
Yeah?
He only just passed away.
Damn, too bad. I'd like to meet that guy.
Oh no, there's people like it. There are others
Yeah?
like it. Oh yeah, he's not the only one. That's that. I'm not a great example of Christianity. You know, I'm just, I'm flawed, and I make a lot of mistakes. But I have to try and be better somehow in order to go in and make that film. So, what does that mean? I think I know what it means.
Well, one of the things that I thought was fascinating was reading and listening to Jim Caviezel talk about his experience playing Christ in your film.
Yeah.
It just truly changed the course of his whole life.
Well, it was fascinating to watch him work, actually. And most of the time, I just backed away because he was doing something that, and I've seen a lot of people portray Jesus in films, right? And I never buy it. You can't quite buy it.
Right.
Something creeps in the color
right.
that's not, something's not right or discordant. And some of them are pretty good, but you never quite believe it all the way.
What was the Willem Dafoe movie?
Oh, that was a Scorsese film.
Right. What was that called?
The Last Temptation.
That's right.
Which, interestingly enough, I was in a hotel in the Savoy and I had food poisoning. I was near dead I ate a bad oyster in London, and I was dying in a hotel room, and I couldn't even leave. It was the worst. I think it was like salmonella or something. And I saw this cord on the side of the bed, and I pulled it, and all of a sudden, a door opened up, and a butler like Jeeves came in. He says, "Yes, sir." And I'm like, "Whoa." And I said, "I'm really sick." I said, "What do you think I should eat?" "Might I suggest some warm consomme and a cup of tea?" I said, "Okay." So this butler took care of me in this hotel. But while I was there, Scorsese calls the room and he says, "Come here, I want to talk to you." So I go in and talk to Martin, and he's in his room, and all the windows, the screens are drawn. He's got 18 different TVs going on at the same time in this dark room, and he's talking to me about Last Temptation of Christ, and he wants me to play Jesus. And I said,
Whoa.
"I'm not doing it."
Playing Christ.
He did something I think that nobody else did, and I think he pulled it off, because I totally believed it.
I believed it too.
And it was like, what did he do? He emptied himself out.
Yeah.
And he invited something else in. And he left it. He didn't try anything. He emptied himself out, and he meditated, and he let Christ in.
And that role seemed to have had some great stuff.
Yeah. I'm blown away by where you got to with this, which is like, didn't you start off just smoking a spliff on a couch with a guy? And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.